looking for the knife?
He was on edge.
Why was he on edge?
Because he was upset he was upset from what happened to Jack's car.
And what kind of things was he saying to make you feel like he was upset? How was he acting?
It's going pretty insane. I'd say he was using vulgar language, cussing. Jack, look what the F they did to your car.
And after he said, look what the F that they did to your car, that's when he asked Jack, where's the knife?
Yes.
How long would you say that was going on for down the street?
That they were searching?
Well, that the defendant was acting in an aggressive manner and cursing and going insane because of what happened to the car, and then looking for the knife.
No more than 30 seconds.
And you indicated that you did not see a knife?
I did not.
Do you know whether or not the defendant ended up finding a knife?
After the fact,
Right, but at the moment...
I assume he found a knife, but in the moment, did not see a knife, and believed for the rest of the night that he never found a knife because I never saw one.
Now, when you say that the three of them went back down the street, before they go back down the street, was there any talk about going back down the street by the defendant?
Yes.
What was he saying?
I don't remember the exact words they were saying, but there was conversation. I was too far away to hear the exact words, and they got back in and drove down.
Now, not telling us what either Jack or Tyler said, did any of those two individuals try to talk the defendant out of going back down the street?
Tyler did.
Now, at some point in time, you indicate that the car leaves to go down the street.
Yes.
Do you see who gets in Jack's car before going down the street?
Yes.
Who?
Jack was driving, and Lido, and Tyler Silva.
And when the car goes down the street, how long would you say the car was down the street for before it returned?
No more than 5 minutes.
And when it was down the street, what if anything did you hear when it was down the street?
So it went down the street, and the four of us were talking amongst ourselves, trying to really figure out what was going on and how we ended up in the situation. And they drove down, and you can kind of hear the tires screech a little bit, and so you know the car is stopping. And you can't see it, but you could hear it. One, because we were far away. Two, because it was dark. Three, there might have been something obstructing our view. You hear a lot of yelling, but it wasn't high-pitched yelling, which came next. It was more of a rowdy yelling, shouting, and then eventually it turned into a very high-pitched scream.
And after about 5 minutes of the yelling and then high-pitched screaming, did you witness the car return?
Yes.
And when the car returned, were you able to witness what Tyler De Silva looked like?
Yes.
And what did he look like?
He was bleeding a lot, bruised everywhere. I asked him a simple question, and I didn't really get an answer, so he was just about unconscious.
And were you able to witness what the defendant looked like?
Yes.
And how did the defendant appear to you?
Shocked. He had like a shocked look on his face. Didn't look as battered as Tyler De Silva was, nowhere near. But I wasn't inspecting him.
Now, at some point in time, when you, Will, Dimitri, and Mackenzie were waiting down the road, were you able to make arrangements to get another ride home?
Yes.
How did that come about?
So once we were sitting on the curb, Carolyn, who was Will's girlfriend at the time, was picking him up. So Will was getting his ride home, and By the time the car returned before I saw Tyler and Leo after what happened, Will was already gone. His girlfriend picked him up, so he was gone. It was just me, Demetrios, and Mackenzie. And Mackenzie asked us if we needed a ride, and her sister could bring us home.
And did you in fact get into the car with Mackenzie?
We did.
Again, this is Exhibit 44. I want to have you watch real quick. Is that Jack's car taking off?
Yes.
And these individuals in the road getting into the car here, that's you and
Myself, Mackenzie, and Demetrios.
that's at about 11:55 at night?
Sounds about right.
You hear the high-pitched screaming in the background? Did you hear that?
I did not hear it.
So when Jack's car took off, do you know who left in Jack's car with him?
Tyler.
And who got into Mackenzie's sister's car?
So it was myself and Demetrios and Mackenzie. And then I shut the door. And then after, Lito got in.
Lito got in, the defendant?
Yes.
And when he got in, where did he sit in the car? Do you remember?
Rear side or back right,
And where were you seated in the car?
right next to him,
In the middle?
in the middle.
And on the car ride withdrawn. When you guys left Laurel Glen, who was the first to get dropped off?
Myself and Demetrios.
And how long was the ride from Laurel Glen to your house?
Say 8 minutes.
And in that 8-minute ride, did the defendant say anything in the 8-minute ride over?
No.
In that 8-minute ride, were you able to observe whether or not he had any blood on him?
I did not see any.
Did it appear that he had been in a fight?
You can assume so.
But you didn't see, it didn't appear so?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Cross-exam.
Good afternoon, Mr. Frasek.
Good afternoon.
We've never met before.
Nice to meet you.
We've never met before.
True.
Okay. You're nervous today.
Of course.
First time testifying in court.
It is.
Just going to go over with you some of your testimony, okay?
Sounds good.
Now, in this case, this isn't the first time that you've spoken about this particular matter, right?
No.
You mentioned you've met with the state's attorney a few times, correct?
Correct.
He showed you some videos, correct?
Correct.
He showed you these 2 videos that we saw today, correct?
Correct.
Have you also seen another video of the fight that took place in the front of Laurel Glen Drive?
No.
You've never seen the fight where Tyler De Silva is down on the ground?
No.
Are you aware that such a video exists?
I've heard chat about it.
And in your case, you spoke, you gave two statements, right? You spoke with Detectives Iannotti and Nugent on May 16th,
Sounds right.
and again with Detective Bango and McPadden on September 1st, correct?
Yes.
You were telling us about being at 5 Lazy Brook Road earlier. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you were invited to that party by whom?
I don't recall whom, but friends.
Did you see Austin Leifer there?
I did.
And what was Austin Leifer doing while you were there?
Drinking like everybody else.
And you told us that you had gone outside with somebody that was ill and throwing up. Do you remember that?
I do.
Was that Austin Leifer?
No.
Did you see Austin Leifer while you were outside?
No.
And you told us that you were there around 1 to 2 hours before these other kids who you said were uninvited arrived, correct?
Sounds about right.
And you were there for 1 to 2 hours, as well as Mr. Snyder and Mr. Valle and Mr. De Silva?
We were there roughly the same amount of time.
You didn't see anybody try to kick them out of that party?
Please rephrase that.
So you didn't see anybody try to tell them to leave that party while you were there for that 1 to 2 hours, did you?
You're talking about the defendant?
Yes, and Mr.
No.
Snyder and Mr. De Silva.
Well, once the party...
Before that,
No.
you didn't see anybody tell them that they had to leave.
No.
And you saw a photograph earlier. That's State's Exhibit 53. You see that? Can you see that on your screen there?
No.
Just
Yeah, it's hurting.
Technical difficulties. Okay, you can see it now.
I do.
Is that photograph taken at the Lifers' house?
I believe so, yes.
Appears to be.
Yes.
Can you identify either of these two folks in the background?
Cannot.
But to the best of your knowledge, that was taken down there in the basement because you recognize the basement where you were, correct?
If it's from the same night, I assume it's the basement.
Well, do you recall these outfits being the clothes that they were wearing?
Yes.
And did you see Mr. Valle that evening wearing some sort of neck pillow around his neck?
I don't recall seeing that now.
Do you recall seeing him wearing this motorcycle helmet?
No.
Does this banner on the back wall, does that look familiar to you?
I didn't pay too much attention to the decor.
Okay. Anything about that look to you like it's the basement where you were hanging out for 1 to 2 hours?
It's safe to say it is.
Okay. So you were there for 1 to 2 hours. This photograph you think was taken there in that basement. That's Mr. Valle and Mr. Snyder, correct?
Yes.
You don't recall anybody telling them, hey, you're not invited, you got to get out of here.
That never happened.
And while you were there, you were drinking Busch Light, you told us.
Yes.
You had 3 beers.
3.
3. And you said at some point you became aware that 3 uninvited individuals showed up. Did you actually see them show up?
No.
You were outside at that point.
My buddy was vomiting.
And what was your buddy's name again?
Ryan.
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 Was he also a St. Joe's student?
He was.
And you didn't see the fight that occurred in front of 5 Lazy Brook?
Did not.
Okay. But when you got back to the driveway, you said you saw a car go driving by and you heard some shouting coming from that car?
There was shouting.
What was the shouting?
F you, and then some vulgar language.
Vulgar language, okay. Did that appear to be directed at anyone?
The people in the driveway.
And in the driveway, did that still include Mr. Snyder, Mr. De Silva, Mr. Valle?
I can't recall if they were in the driveway still or who was out there. I would assume so.
And at that point, you told us you were concerned about trying to get home, right?
Yes.
And you had with you Demetrios Orphanis, who had been planning to sleep over at your house that night,
Yes.
and Will Central, right?
I don't know if Will was supposed to sleep at my house. I can't recall what our plans with Will were. But if he needed someplace to sleep, it would have been my house.
Okay. He was a friend of yours.
He was.
And the three of you were offered a ride by Jack Snyder.
Yes.
Had you ever ridden with Jack Snyder before?
Not to my knowledge.
Was he somebody that you were close with?
In school, yes.
Tyler DeSilva, was he somebody that you were close with?
In school, yes.
And Raul Valle, was he somebody that you were close with?
In school, yes.
When you say in school, what does that mean exactly?
Like we would go out of our ways to hang out with each other outside of school.
Okay. But on this night, at least, you happened to be at the same party.
Yes, we'd see each other at numerous parties before.
Okay. And so when you got into Jack's car, it was yourself, Jack Snyder, Tyler DeSilva, Raul Valle, correct?
Yes.
Demetrios, Will Senswald, and Mackenzie Traficante.
Sounds right.
So there were 7 of you in that pilot. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
Anybody else?
No.
And when you were in the car, what did it sound like in the car?
There was no music played.
No music playing?
No.
So you could hear everybody talking?
No.
Okay. Where were you seated?
In the back.
In the back as far as the trunk area, or in the back as far as the row
Not in the trunk area.
So the row
in the
seat
seat
directly behind the passenger and the driver.
Yes.
And which end of that seat were you on?
I don't remember.
Were you by a door?
I don't remember. I was in the back row of seats.
Who were you sitting beside?
I don't remember. I just remember Jack was driving, and the six other individuals, including myself, were in the car.
Do you remember Demetrios being in the trunk area?
That I do remember.
Okay, why do you remember that in particular?
Because when we were surrounded outside the Rich house, I looked back to him and said, we have to get out of here.
Was he the only one that was in the trunk area?
Will Senswald could have been, but he was in the car.
And you were shown a photograph. Showing you State Exhibit 30. Trying to show you State Exhibit 30. There we go. And you identified that as the vehicle that you were riding, right?
It was on pilot.
And when you got out of the vehicle that night, it did not have this shattered windshield.
When I initially got in,
You initially got in.
it did not.
And you told us that you went over to Trumbull High School at that point, right?
We did.
And you met up with some girls there, you said.
Yes.
Were those also girls from the party that you had just been at?
Yes.
Okay. How did you know to meet up with them there at Trumbull High School?
Outside the Lifer household, everybody was piling into cars, trying to find rides home, and we ended up mutually going to Trumbull High.
Okay. Was that a sort of known meetup spot?
No.
You saw two other folks there that night too, right? Not just the girls. There was a car with two gentlemen, right?
Yes.
Do you remember who they were?
Yes.
Who was that?
I know one of them was in there. Shane, coach.
And was one of them Mike Bagley?
Sounds about right.
Okay. And they were in a white BMW?
Yes.
And how do you know those two individuals?
I grew up with them.
Were they also students at St. Joe's?
They were students at Trumbull High School.
Okay, they were students at Trumbull High. The other two girls, though, they were students at St. Joe's.
Which girls are you referring to?
The two girls that you met at Trumbull High School.
I believe so, yes.
And when you got to Trumbull High School, did you tell us that everybody got out of the car?
Mostly everybody got out of the car. Can't exactly remember how it all happened, but people were scattered.
Okay. And how long did the ride from 5 Lazy Brook to Trumbull High School take?
A few minutes.
3 or 4, 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
5 or 6 minutes. No drinking in the car on the way there.
No.
Was there alcohol in the car?
There could have been. I don't recall.
You didn't see anybody drinking?
No.
You didn't drink yourself?
No.
And you said you stayed there for about 20 minutes, right?
Sounds about right, yes.
And then you got back into Jack's car and you thought that you were going home to your house, right?
Yes.
Because Jack had told you that he was going to be your ride home, right?
Because my ride, when I got to the Lifer household, left. So I didn't have a ride. Jack said he'd bring me home.
And everybody got back into the car at that point, right?
The 7 individuals that were in the car, leaving the Lifer household, got back in the car.
And nobody said where you were going at that point. You just told us you assumed that you were going home, right?
I assumed I was going home with Demetrius and Will, or maybe Will was getting dropped off after. My house, compared to everybody else, the closest to Trumbull High, so I assumed I was going home first.
Gotcha. Nobody said, hey, we're going somewhere else, right?
Not that I remember.
And I think you told us that you, while you were there, well, who were you talking to while you were outside of the car at Trumbull High School?
I can't recall everybody I talked to, or even who I talked to. It just wasn't. I wasn't talking to Lido, Jack, and Tyler.
Okay. So you said they were somewhere among themselves?
That sounds right.
Did you see them, or you just assumed that?
It was safe to assume.
Okay. So you didn't see them?
I saw that they weren't with me. So that means they have to be together.
But you didn't actually see them together, is what I'm asking.
I wasn't focusing my attention on them.
I understand that. You were talking to other people.
Yes.
I'm just saying you assumed that they were somewhere together, but you didn't actually see them somewhere together, did you?
They were at the car.
Oh, you saw them at the car?
Yeah.
Where were they at the car?
I can't recall if they were inside or outside, but I was not near the car, so I wasn't with them.
So you don't have a clear recollection of seeing them together at the car, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's yes, you don't have a clear recollection, right?
Please repeat that.
You said yes, and it was either you do have a clear recollection of them being in the car, or you don't have a clear recollection.
Yes, I have a clear recollection they were at the car.
You have a clear recollection of seeing them at the car.
Yes.
You just said that they could have been in the car, they could have been out of the car. Were they in the car or out of the car?
It's been 3 years.
I'm sorry?
It's been 3 years.
I understand that, sir. I'm just asking you what your recollection is. You said they could have been in the car, they could have been out of the car. Now you're telling me you have a clear recollection. Were they in the car? Were they out of the car?
I guess my recollection's not clear enough. They were around the car.
Okay. And do you recall what they were doing when they were around the car?
Most likely chatting.
Not what were they most likely doing, sir? What do you recall them doing when you told us now that they were around the car?
Chatting.
You saw them chatting?
Yes.
What did you see in their hands?
I don't recall seeing anything in their hands.
You sure you're not assuming that they must have been there because you don't recall seeing them with your groups of friends that you were talking to?
I'm going to object based on a little argumentative.
I'm going to ask you to repeat that, please.
Are you sure that you're not assuming that they must have been by the car because you don't recall seeing them with the group of friends that you were with?
So where we were near the baseball field at Trumbull High. The car was parked maybe 20 feet away. We were sitting near a curb or talking to a car near the curb. So they were in our point of view, so yes, I saw.
Okay, so you did see them at the car?
Yes.
You saw them inside the car?
Objection asked and answered.
I'll allow the follow-up. There's been some confusion. Go ahead.
They were in the car.
Not outside the car.
They were in the car.
They were in the car.
They were in the car.
Windows up, windows down.
I don't recall.
And when you left the parking lot at Trumbull High School, you said you knew that you weren't going to your house because the car took a left to Shelton, right?
Yes.
And you live in Trumbull.
I do.
And at that point, you said you assumed that they were going to drop off Mackenzie because you knew she lived in Shelton, right?
Yes.
And nobody said, hey, we're leaving right now, we're going somewhere. Correct?
No, nobody said that.
The car just started following this direction, right?
Yes, I assumed that was going home.
And there was another car following you, right? The white BMW?
There was.
And that was Shane Coach and Mike Bagley's car?
They don't share a car. I believe it was Shane's car.
Okay. It was Shane's car. Mike Bagley was with him.
Yes.
And you saw them following you?
They were going to follow me.
And how long was the ride from Trumbull High School to Tyler Richard's house?
More than 5 minutes.
More than 5 minutes? Less than 10?
I don't recall the exact time frame, but it was more than 5 minutes.
Had you been there before?
I have not.
And you said that initially the car came up to 43 Laurel and then drove by it, right?
Yes.
When you drove by, you could see that there were people already outside of 43 Laurel and?
Yes.
How many people?